when we're looking at 2022, you're saying it's a much different setup. You're saying investors need to, quote unquote, read the footnotes and dig a little bit deeper. Basically, the days of putting your money into a sector or into an area like high growth stocks or mega cap tech is over. So you're going to have to explain that. Why can't we do that in 2022?
Well, because I think what's happening now, hopefully what's happening is COVID is running its course. We've seen from the latest variant that it is less virulent, but more contagious. But according to epidemiologists, that is the way these things should go. And ironically, that is good news. So when you get to that point, I think you have to throw out the playbook that we've been using for the past 2 years, which is just sector plays, stay-at-home stocks, things like that. And as we hopefully return to normal, I do think it will become more of what we call a stock picker's market. And by reading the footnotes, I simply mean you really do have to roll up your sleeves and check some of these companies out to see if you can find some gems of information that have just been lost in the craziness of the past 2 years.
All right, we're going to get to your stock picks in just a moment, but correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't Omicron force us to throw the playbook out already on Black Friday? And I think a lot of investors were already calling an audible. And you're saying basically more audibles will be needed in 2022. You also believe, I just heard what you said, that you believe COVID will be less of a factor for the markets, but a bigger factor for the Fed.
I do think so, because let's just talk a lot of questions there, but let me just take the Fed matter. The Fed has been desperately trying to keep up with the changing headlines. And I think that to pace that way as a Fed, it is really, really difficult. And what I'm seeing for 2022 is really a change in tempo of this news. And while you're correct, we had a crazy past 2 years. I do think what's going to happen now is there's going to be a different tempo, but it's going to be a tempo with the theme of improvement. But you still have to be on your toes. So I think the Fed will have to pivot far more than he has expected at this point. We might get some good news in that the next mutation might be even less. However, we might get some worse news. In that case, the Fed might actually have to retract some of the statements he had made prior to that. So flexibility is the key, being able to change with the new data that comes out. And even though I think COVID will be winding down, it probably will be a period of the most news in terms of how quickly or how slowly things will wind down and how we have to adapt to that.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.